Supposed to start.
It doesn't. It's been sitting. Okay. Hello, YouTube.
Oh,
say hello to YouTube. They can hear you. Everything's being recorded.
Excellent.
Just so you know. You don't get surprised. All right. So we added some fuel. Yep, didn't notice that. So I added 9 gallons. It says there's 15.5. It's actually right. I think that's probably pretty close to right. Oh, no, that's right. There we go. Not going to let me add 9, is it? Oh, it did let me add 9. 8.9 is what I put in. There we go. Accept. And we're going down to the Jackson County.
Okay.
We'll get a ride to a place called Rowdys Barbecue. They're only open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And on Saturdays only until they run out of food.
Sounds awesome.
Well, it's almost like somebody's hobby, you know. It sounds like I want to have a restaurant, but I don't want to be totally devoted to it.
Very excited.
Message for you, sir. Monty Python. Message for you, sir. What was the message? Check barometer setting. Oh, thank you for the reminder. So let's see. Be right about there. It's going to be right around 30-20. Based on sheer guesswork. All right, that's done. Okay. Now that's all the easy stuff done. Let's see, what's temperature? 96.0. We'll be 120 even if they're taking off on 2-2. So we can go ahead and taxi. Let's see, boat ground. Boat ground, experimental 284 Delta Golf at the T-hangars, ready to taxi, departing VFR southbound.
Experimental 284 Delta Golf, Bolton ground, runway 4, taxi via Bravo and Alpha, wind calm, altimeter 3015.
Yeah, 4 Delta Golf, can you get runway 22?
Yeah, 4 Delta Golf, we can work that out. Runway 22, taxi, Bravo and Alpha.
Bravo and Alpha 22, 4 Delta Golf. I got a YouTube comment on that, on one of the flights I recorded, and I was bitching about having to go all the way down to runway 4, and the guy says, you know, you can ask them for whatever runway you want. So ever since then, I haven't had to go all the way down to runway 4 when wind calm. For some reason, that's their calm air runway. It's also the ILS runway, and I don't know if those are related, but it's a long hike down there. If you don't, I don't mind if the oil needs, you know, another 40 or 50 degrees, that's fine. But if it's going to warm up as quick as it is today, I'll take 2-2.
3-4, Quebec Foxtrot at the T-hangars, ready for taxi.
Well, I wonder where he's going to send him. 2-2 or 4?
It's 4 Quebec Foxtrot, Bolton ground, runway 4, taxi via Bravo and Alpha, wind
better get out
calm,
of here.
altimeter 3016.
We're already at oil temp. We're ready to go.
Cool. Which one did he send him to? I didn't
4. He sent them to 4.
Runway 4 via Bravo to Alpha, 724 Quebec Foxtrot.
He should get a YouTube account. You get a lot of helpful advice from your YouTube account. All right, we're good on that. Trim is set. I'm going to check I just closed it, but I'm going to check it again. And we do have the fuel pump fuse in. That's the only real thing I can screw up. You're all belted in. Yes, we're ready to go. We got the course dialed in. Run up is done. Free and correct. Flaps are up. We are set. Tower frequency, we're ready to go. Bolton Tower, experimental 284 Delta Golf, ready for takeoff, runway 22 at Alpha 1, departing VFR southbound.
Experimental 284 Delta Golf, Bolton Tower, runway 22, clear for takeoff, southbound departure.
Clear for takeoff, runway 22 for Delta Golf, southbound departure. That was an easy transaction.
It was.
It's worth everything I paid him.
You're gonna be off before that other guy even gets anywhere near the runway.
Without a doubt, yeah. No problem there at all.
I don't even see him yet.
There he is.
Yeah, Yellowbird.
Yeah. I'll have to send a thank you card to the tower. When my wife makes Christmas cookies every year, she makes enough to give to the mailman and everything, and she actually I take some over for the guys in the tower.
Nice. Keith said that sometimes when they're calling traffic, or I don't know if it's traffic or approach or what, but sometimes when they're calling.
Go ahead.
Sometimes when they're calling them, if there's a problem down on the ground or something,
popping out. There you go. Try again.
Okay, the people in the back of the plane can take over, and he can be actually talking to someone in traffic, and he's actually talking to the back of the plane he's driving.
Yeah, no opportunity for miscommunication there. All right, you want to fly?
Not really. I'm going to just ride and enjoy.
Okay, well then we'll just use the autopilot.
Yeah, you can do that too.
Why do I need to work then? All right, so let me reset the direct to, map direct to, so it's reset. And now, autopilot, and let's turn on the altimeter, and we want to go to 3,500. Turning the wrong button. There we go. 3,500. And up. So now let's see. GPS is on. It's not doing it. Up. There it goes. For some reason, it wanted me to turn off the nav hold to get the altitude pre-select to work. That was interesting. All right, I'm going to squelch you back now. There we go.
I think it's going to be a little bit. Choppy the whole day.
Yeah, I do too. And they were calling scattered at 1,800 or 2,100, and I thought we were going to have to stay under them. But I think I think that one might be. But I don't think they're. I think they're closer to 4,000. Port Columbus was calling 4,000. We wouldn't be able to get over them, or at least not one like that one right in front of us. That's way too high to get over. So I figure if we can do 300 or 3,000 MSL, we're fine. It's not that bumpy. I really thought it would be. Some kind of interesting facility down there. I don't know what it is. It had kind of like the middle 30 yards of a football field, and it had another field with just little, I don't know, some kind of structures in it. Be curious what that is. I think there's a business opportunity around here for a drone racing track.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Have you ever seen YouTubes of the FPV drone racing? It's just amazing. I'm not sure I could do it because they got those FPV goggles on. They really have no peripheral vision. And the one I watched was built into a football stadium. So the course went ripping along the seats in one of the mid-levels, and it would go down through those tunnels back into where they saw all the concessions and stuff, and then go ripping through there, make some hard turns, and come back out on the field. I mean, roughly half of them in any heat would crash. All they can see is just this very, very narrow tunnel vision, and they are very, very fast. I might be too old for it. I might not have the reactions for it.
So we're out of the way of Rickenbacker, right?
Yeah, you can see it right here.
Oh.
I would have gotten a warning too. She'd have told me airspace. Warning, airspace. Of course, through all those many years of marriage, I've tuned out the female voice, so I don't hear most of what she says. I put on the male voice, but he kept offering up shortcuts. You know, don't go this way. I know a shortcut. And, you know, of course, those are always wrong. So I just kind of look at the picture.
Does that one usually stay that high?
TAC?
No, this one, it's almost in the yellow.
That's the TAC.
Oh.
Actually, it's only at 5290 because we're still on a climb. We're getting ready to level off. I'm still at full throttle. Once it levels off, that's probably going to run up close to 54, 5500, which is red line. You're allowed, the yellow is 55 to 58. You're allowed to do that for 5 minutes. But I have my pitch on the prop set to very much of a cruise pitch, so it really won't ever get up that high. I didn't want to have to worry about it. What will happen is you'll get an updraft on the autopilot, and it's trying to hold the altitude. Well, to do that, it's pushing the nose down. That unloads that engine a little bit more, and you run the risk of getting up above red line without really even noticing because the autopilot's doing the flying. So I have it set, yeah, this is probably the max I can get out of it is 5350 or so. And it's one less thing to worry about. And of course, I get a great cruise speed out of it. You know, we're doing 108, 109 indicated, 116 across the ground. Yeah, so it works out well.
You've got such long runways you're working with that it only makes sense to have a cruise setup.
I have very few space constraints on anything, really. But I do pull it back. I let it run around 5,000 like that. And I got the vernier control now, so I can manage it very precisely if I want to try to hold it. Now, as smooth as it is right now, it'll probably hold pretty close to whatever I set. But with a lot of up and down drafts, it's going to be all over the place. So there's not really much. I just like to have it in a range, you know, that ranges out to about 5 gallons an hour.
Temperature is pretty comfortable.
Yeah, you get 2 degrees per 1,000 feet. So we're only a couple thousand feet up, but that's 4 degrees off the temperature. It's 76, in case you're interested. So
much nicer than down there.
Yeah, it's summertime air conditioning. Just fly a little bit higher. I don't know if you know, I had to put a new voltage regulator in it.
Oh, really?
A couple months ago. I got 180 some hours out of that thing. And they're not cheap. It comes out to about $1 an hour.
That's what everyone bitches about the most is that voltage regulator.
Yeah. Well, they do these things. They put a John Deere in there, and they have to rewire the connector to do it. And that's all well and good because the John Deere is a lot cheaper than the Ducati, but they don't have any life history on that. They don't know how long they don't know that that's even going to go 200 hours. So to me, it seems like you're making an assumption that there's something wrong with the Ducati that's going to be addressed by some other unit that's in the exact same engine area, same situation, and they're making all these wiring changes, and they don't know the thing is going to last any longer than the other one. But I guess they're thinking as well, at half the price or a third the price, I can replace it every 70 hours and still be ahead.
We put the cooling on it too.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a heat problem. I don't know that anybody really knows what the problem is or if there really even is a problem. But you do hear anecdotal evidence of other airplanes that have the Rotax 912 that are going 500 hours. Kyle's went 300 hours.
So you had the Ducati and now you've got a John Deere?
No, I have a Ducati. I wasn't going to change my wiring for something unproven. Now I suppose you could do a dual harness if you wanted to and just have, hey, whichever one works this time around, I'll change which plug I use. But the case shape isn't the same either, so you have to find some place to mount it, or you have to change how it gets mounted. Some people are just building adapter plates, so they're not changing the way the Ducati is mounted, they're just putting an adapter plate on top of it. To me, I'm going to kind of wait and see. If this one doesn't make 200 hours, which is granted, I mean, that's 3 or 4 years, maybe I'll worry about it then. For now, I just stuck with the Ducati.
When they quit, what phase of flight do they normally quit in?
Well, they don't really quit immediately. What I saw was when I would start and I'm sitting at idle, rather than getting 5 amps of charge or 3 amps of charge, I was getting -6. And it was taking more and more RPM for that to kick in and actually start going positive on the charging. So that's an indication that it's getting ready to roll over and die. And I don't see any reason to wait. I mean, it's not something that's going to get better. When it gets to that way, it is going to die. I would rather do it sitting on a taxiway than in the air.
Then wait till the last minute and have it go wrong the same time something else is, and you don't need too many things are wrong at once.
And I did the same thing with the carb floats. I took off out of Noble County, heading towards, I believe it's let me think about that. It's towards the north, and it's very rough off the end of that runway. It's hills and trees. And just after rotation, I got about 3 seconds of the engine running rough and a strong smell of fuel. And I wasn't high enough to turn around, and I didn't want to turn around anyway. It smoothed out, but I decided it would be prudent to go back and land, which was also a little frightening because your final approach is over a lake, and you're down low over the lake. But it ran smooth. Kyle was with me. He followed me back in. We took it apart, and it looks like on the left carburetor, the float had just stuck. It wasn't leaking or anything. It just was stuck, I think. In any event, we loosened it up, put it back together, did a big run-up. Everything worked fine. It flew home just fine. I flew way up high, and I kind of hopscotched from airport to airport, but it got home just fine. I was at 183 hours. At 200 hours, you get those carbs overhauled anyway. So I just went ahead and got them overhauled, got new floats in it. The floats I had were so old, they weren't even caught up in the recall, that big massive recall they had of all the Rotax floats. I didn't get caught up in that because mine were so old. So it made sense. I mean, they're $56 each, and there's like 4 of them. But it made sense to me to have them replaced as long as I was getting that overhaul. So it's another thing. Why another 18 hours of wondering if the thing is going to keep working? That didn't make sense to me. So I went ahead and got that done. I think proactive maintenance is probably the best approach. Well, let's drop the probably. There's no reason to put a probably on that. It's the best approach.
Didn't we stop at that airport when the weather was bad?
That's Circleville.
With
No, that's Ross County. Circleville is back behind us. That's where we stopped. And we had to wait. We tried to squeeze in front of that thunderstorm and just made it. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't forgotten that. I made it with plenty of time. I had the RV6. You guys were in that Cessna and you lagged behind a little bit. And I think you got in just before. Didn't it just start pouring down as you were putting the plane away?
Oh my God, yeah. Just after we landed, it turned into a nightmare.
Yeah, I was driving down the road on the way home after that. I thought, oh man.
It was really strong.
Yeah, well, you could see it coming on the radar, and that's why this is so nice. Actually, I stand corrected. That is Circleville. I can tell by the orientation. I was thinking it was Ross County, which is the next one down, but that's at an angle. See how it's only about 5 miles away?
I see it.
But that one's north-south, so that's where we sat. That's also where I left my fuel cap once on this plane. Went back looking for it, so I parked at the pumps, walked all the way down from the pumps to the FBO to see if somebody had turned it in. Nothing there. Came back, looked around, didn't see it. I was just getting ready to go, decided I'd go ahead and put some gas in it. Went to the gas pump, and somebody had set it up on top of the gas pump.
Nice.
So, there it is.
It's got your number on it. All they had to do was look it up. They could have called you.
Right. Well, they set it there. I found it eventually, so it all worked out. I'm not complaining. It was just funny how long it took me to see it when it was sitting right there.
What's the visibility? 10, 15?
Oh yeah, this is good visibility.
Yeah.
It's so when I flew last Saturday, it was unlimited. I mean, you could see to the horizon, and it was crisp. I mean, there was just nothing to block it. Saturday afternoon, it got a little hazier, but this is 10 plus at least. That's about as good as you can expect for August anyway, particularly when it's 80-some degrees and humid. Yeah, the two I flew last week were both nervous about it, and I flew them individually, of course, two-seat airplane. And they both said the exact same thing. We've been flying about 10 minutes, and they both said, I'm not nearly as nervous as I thought it would be. And I think they're anticipating it more like being on the edge. Like when we went to, when I climbed that when I climbed up to that lighthouse down at Hunting Island or whatever that is, that's when I discovered I have my fear of heights that I never knew about. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm getting down from this thing. You don't feel that, I don't think, when you're nice and enclosed like this. It doesn't feel like you've got any altitude at all. It's just a very nice picture out the window. So I wasn't very surprised that they said that. It was interesting that they both said it, though.
Yeah, I don't get that either. I've noticed the same thing. Like, I started to climb up that lighthouse once. I said, nope. It went right back down. I hate the height thing, but airplanes just don't bother me at all.
But I never had that before. That's something I guess like a dog grows into being afraid of fireworks or something. I grew into a fear of heights that I never had before. And I guess I never noticed because I seldom do anything like that.
Yeah.
I would think hang gliding or maybe an ultralight or something where you're completely exposed. I'm not sure if that would feel the same. That might generate a little bit of
anxiety.
A little emptiness in the pit of your belly or something. This you're nice. You don't feel any air. I just feel like I'm in a car in a substantially bumpier ride, but I don't think it's the same thing at all. Well, I got 8 minutes of flying and probably 3 minutes of battery. That'll work. Let's get this.
Is that the airport straight ahead?
It's still 15 miles away.
Zulu,
It might be.
Visibility 10. Clear below 12,000. Temperature.
Well, no, because that town out there is Jackson. We got to go past Jackson.
Okay.
Altimeter 3013. Remarked. Density altitude 2,700.
As I recall, the airport's hard to see from this direction because it's below a hill or something.
Yeah.
Kind of like the first time I flew into Lunkin at night.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Tower and I said, I just crossed the river. I never saw anything.
Foxtrot, 5 miles southeast of the airfield. Entering the 45 left downwind for runway 20.
I didn't hear.
20, full stop.
I always had, back before GPS, I always had trouble finding Bolton. It's hard to find. So what you do here, as you go past Jackson, you're going to be flying right along Highway 35. And as you come down the highway, there'll eventually be this building. It's actually a Suzuki, Yamaha, whatever dealer. It's a motorcycle dealer. It has one of those red aluminum roofs. So that red aluminum roof, if you see that, get to there, turn right, you'll be lined up on final to runway 19. Because I've come down here when it is very hazy, and it is hard to see. So I just have a really good landmark for finding final. Check the wind one more time.
0.21, altimeter 3013, remarked.
Density altitude 2,700. James A. Rhodes Airport. Automated weather observation. 1820 Zulu weather. Wind calm. Visibility 10. Clear below 12.
Anything we want on the runway.
Temperature 32 Celsius. Dew point.
Which of course it means it's whatever runway anybody wants when it's calm. So I have to listen up. There's a lot of Nordos down here too. It's a kind of very rural airport. So there's guys that fly around no radio at all. I was taking off behind one. It was in a Cessna. He was in like a 172, and we're both waiting at the end of the runway. He's doing his run up, and he did this like circle, just taxied around in a circle. And I said, like on YouTube, I was like, oh, it looks like he's dancing. But then he took off with no radio. So what he was doing was checking the pattern. So airplane a 172 has a radio in it, but it's not necessarily not broken. And down here, it's such a lightly used airport, it's not that big of a deal. You get them in Urbana now and then, which is a big deal. On a Sunday or Saturday where everybody's flying in for breakfast, and somebody comes in without a radio. That's pretty scary. I'm never one for more regulation, but not having a radio seems kind of... You can make a public safety argument on that one.
Runway 20, full stop, climb.
Compared to the cost of flying, the cost of a radio.
Well, I look at some of these guys that have these old no electrical system Taylor crap. Well, yes, that's true. What's going to end them is the 2020 rules for ADS-B. I mean, unless it's experimental, they're paying, I don't know, $5,000, $10,000. I don't know how they're going to do that on a $10,000 airplane. Unless somebody comes up with something, like a handheld radio that meets that need. I have the ADS-B, so I'm good to go on that, but I have to buy a new GPS. $600 for a new GPS because it's the tighter tolerances that are required. Which, that's a bargain compared to a store-bought plane, but it's still $600 to replace a GPS that works perfectly well. But that's flying. I think ADS-B benefits everybody, and it'll be nice when everybody has it, so I don't have to wonder if that guy is he traffic reporting or not. When Continental put in glass panels, they had to go to the manufacturer and get a software update to put in the steam gauges because they were concerned that the pilots wouldn't be able to make that jump from steam gauge to EFIS. And I asked my wife's cousin, he's a retired airline pilot, whether, they have various flavors of 737s. They have the old steam gauges and they have the ones with the MFDs. And I said, do you get special training? Do you only fly one or the other? He says, no, you just never know what's going to be there when you show up. You just fly what you show up to. So he could be flying around behind an EFIS day after day after day and all of a sudden find steam gauges. So he went to he got enough seniority that he could fit a bigger airplane. He got into 757s, and then he got into the Airbus, and he didn't like the Airbus at all. So he went back to flying the Boeings. He said he wanted to fly for a living again because the Boeing is much more of a pilot's airplane. The Airbus is more of a managerial style. Pulling back on the stick does not increase pitch. It increases angle of attack. It's not the same thing. So it's a very, very different feeling. And he just wanted to go back to that kind of a hands-on feeling. I asked him now that he's retired when he flies commercially if he kind of knows, like, all the SIDs and stars, right? He says, yeah, I know where we are, and I follow along in the approach. And I said, would you grade the landings? He says, well, I really can't in good conscience because my last 5 years I got to where I just dropped it in. I don't know if he's serious about that, but I found it amusing. Let's get the pattern altitude here because I don't remember it. 1800, so we can go another 200 down. And that's 35 right there. So we just follow along that. And when we see the building, we know it's time to turn. I drive down here a lot too. 35 is a really nice drive. We used to do that when we went to Killcare to watch my brother race. He doesn't race at Killcare anymore. Somebody bought the track, and the people that bought it they wanted the drag strip, not the oval. So they shut out the oval guys. And then he started going to a tiny little place called Shady Bowl, and then he got a job. And I think the time got to be an issue because it takes a lot of time to prep the car and practice and all that. So I think he's going to sell it. It's unfortunate, but there's the runway over there. You see the hangar, that bright white hangar?
Got it.
That's the runway. So actually, the irony here today is my landmark building is hidden behind the trees. I can't see it. Taxi County traffic, experimental tweet for Delta Golf is 3 miles north inbound landing runway 19er, Jackson County.
Oh, I see your landmark building. It's right at that intersection.
Yeah, right there, yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of hidden back there, but that's really handy when it's hazy. You just follow down this road. Road's a very good landmark. That's how I do IFR these days. I follow roads. Oh, and we're actually landing at Governor Rhodes Airport, so hey, there's a roads there.
There you go. Governor Rhodes' birthday.
Now there's this little road here. You know, you take this intersection, you can follow that road straight to the runway.
Governor Rhodes' birthday is the same day, I think, as Keith's.
Oh.
It's one of the kids. I think it's Keith.
Yeah, he did us a big favor getting an airport in every single county in Ohio. I mean, that's... I don't know what the reasoning, I guess, was to bring business to your community or whatever, but it's very convenient. I think every county should have an airport.
That's back when civilian aviation was pretty big, and
yes,
you couldn't get space at airports and all kinds of stuff now.
Yeah, they're very lightly used these days. Have you been down here before?
Yeah, we
Jackson?
came down here and ate at the restaurant here, I think.
No, there is no restaurant here.
No, then I haven't been here.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Their little terminal building was just a shack. I mean, it looked like it was going to fall over. And they finally got some funding, and they have a new building. You'll see it as we taxi by. They got a nice new building. Just finished it like this spring. It's really nice. So a lot of that was federal and state money actually being applied. The aviation taxes, which the state was spending on everything but aviation, they now use. I don't know what happened. Somebody caught them or they just got a clue, but they were able to get some funding for this nice new building. I like to make this first turn off.
I won't hold you to it.
Why not?
Engine speed.
Oh shit. I have the idle set too low. I forgot about that.
Message.
Yeah, I know.
Message.
I forgot about that. Oh yeah, windsock.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, it's muggy. I'll just tell him we're at the terminal. Oh, there he is. You can drive down the taxiway. He's on the airport authority board. He can drive anywhere he wants. He's a highway patrolman. I'll just drive anywhere I want. Oh, they painted lines for me. That was awful nice of them. Those lines weren't here last time I was here. This is all brand new. That's gorgeous, isn't it? Look, you even got little rocking chairs. Oh, that's so nice. I like these little airports. I really do. I wish I could be at one of these. I guess I could if I wanted to go out to Columbus Southwest and fly off the grass.
It's really messy when it rains.